Today, I'll be going through 5 essential tips you must do in order to improve your soft field takeoffs and climb out. Watch to the end because you don't want to miss tip number 5. So what is a soft field takeoff? Soft field takeoff may be defined as runway that reduces your acceleration on takeoff. So the objective of the short field takeoff is to transfer the weight of the aircraft from the landing gear to the wings as quickly as possible. Takeoffs from soft fields require you to use your knowledge in your aircraft's performance as well as the VX and VY of the type of aircraft that you're flying. Tip number 1, complete the before takeoff check. If at all possible, complete your before takeoff check on a paved or firm surface. This will aid in avoiding any type of propeller damage or the possibility of the aircraft becoming stuck. Now you can set the flaps and make sure that the approach and down the runway are clear of any obstructions, any aircraft, any animals, anything that will prevent you from being able to take off. After you make sure everything is clear and good to go, then go ahead, taxi out onto the runway. Tip number 2, align on the center of the runway. Align the airplane on the center of the runway, and while you're still rolling, start advancing that throttle forward very smoothly to take off power. Now that you're rolling down the runway, make sure you're maintaining that back pressure on the yoke so that you can start to raise the nose wheel from the surface of the runway. As your airspeed increases, you're going to be able to reduce the amount of back pressure that you're applying on the yoke, but not a whole lot. You still want to keep that nose wheel coming up off the runway. It's important to note here, if you don't release some of that back pressure, you could possibly put the aircraft into a really nose-high position while you're still on the runway and cause the tail to come in contact with the runway. And that's never a good thing. Tip number 3, the most important tip of them all. That's right, it's the fact that you are not subscribed to the channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and select all so I can continue to bring you this great aviation content. The majority of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. And while you're subscribing, download my free ebook located in the link in the description below. Tip number 3, the lift off. As the airplane lifts off from the surface of the runway, reduce some of that back pressure to a level flight attitude. As the airspeed increases, lift increases, and more of the aircraft's weight is transferred to the wings. This causes the airplane to become airborne at an airspeed slower than the safe climb. The airplane is now flying in ground effect. Tip number 4, ground effect. Now we're off the runway, we're at a level flight attitude. Now we can allow the aircraft to accelerate in ground effect. And while we're accelerating the ground effect, we're going to monitor our airspeed, and we're looking for our VX speed. Once we get our VX speed, then we can start applying some more back pressure and begin our climb. One thing you want to think about is while you're rolling down the runway, getting the airplane to lift off from the runway surface. It's important to note that it may skip and bounce into the air before the aircraft can be supported aerodynamically. It's important to hold that pitch attitude as constant as possible. One flight maneuver that you've probably performed a bunch of times in the practice area that can definitely help you with your short field takeoffs, believe it or not, is slow flight. The application of slow flight works very well with the whole procedures of your soft field takeoffs. Tip number 5, the climb out. Now that we are successfully taking off and we're climbing out away from the runway, we're clear of any obstructions, any obstacles of any kind, we can begin to accelerate to VY, as well as if your aircraft's equipped, retract those landing gear, get your flaps up, and once you've achieved a safe altitude and airspeed, go ahead and trim the airplane out to release some of the control pressure that you're having to put on the aircraft. Remember, soft field takeoffs take time, they take practice in order to perfect. Make sure you're getting the repetitions in. Make sure you're constantly flying. Make sure you are definitely doing this over and over and over again. At least 1,000 times, all right? In your head, chair flying, simulator, actually flying the aircraft, all right? And make sure you're not being mean to yourself, right? Because we're learning. It's all a learning experience, and you're going to get better. The more you do it, the better you get. It's just going to become routine, right? And make sure you click on this video right here for more aviation content.